Hello again, I'm back, and today we'll be discussing Alfred Pennyworth and his ascribed role in both comics and fanon. This video will be structured a little oddly, but I hope it proves engaging. However, first I would like to thank my wonderful patrons for making this episode possible. So, who is Alfred Pennyworth? Well, the common consensus among fans and sort of among writers is that he was Bruce Wayne's surrogate father after the Waynes were struck down in the alleyway. Essentially an honorary part of the family already, he tried to care for Bruce but ultimately couldn't keep him from his dangerous destiny as Batman. Now he uses the skills he picked up in various walks of life, be it as a soldier, actor or spy depending on the canon, to serve as a medic, advisor and occasional sharpshooter. As a character, he offers dry wit, wisdom, and is generally seen as something of a linchpin keeping the Bat family together, when he's not dead for reasons. This thinking has led to the frequent use of the tag, be it for fanfiction or posts, reading Alfred Pennyworth is the best. But is he really the best? Let's find out by discussing 3 common misconceptions. Point 1. While Alfred has been a part of the Bat Clan for some time, a lot of people don't know that he wasn't always there. In fact, he came in much later than Dick, who only took a year to be introduced. Even after his introduction, Alfred would take some time to evolve in what we know today, starting out more as a befuddled comedy sidekick who evolved into a sharp-witted butler with an odd penchant for trying to set Bruce up with women. However, even then, it wouldn't be until 1986 that he was retconned into being Bruce's father figure and guardian by the most recent crisis. I've addressed this before, but it's needed context before we move on. Is Alfred incredibly wise, and does he always know what to say? No! That doesn't say he's unhelpful, he is, but the idea that Alfred is this unending font of wisdom who always knows what to say and what to do, well, that's overhyped. Some easy highlights: his insensitivity towards Dick after Bruce fired him, his insensitivity towards Jason, who'd been crying and now felt betrayed by Bruce, who straight up said, "I'm not your father, Jason," even though everything in their relationship prior to that established that he very much was. His decision to give Damian Robin, then leave Dick to handle the fallout, double trouble. His lashing out at Stephanie for being an unwitting pawn in mind games against Tim, a general disregard for Bruce's psychological well-being or the impacts his actions have on the others. None of this isn't to say that he doesn't do a lot of good stuff, but he's every bit as much a flawed disaster of a human being as the rest of them. Point 3. Next verse the same as the first. Is Alfred the linchpin keeping the family together? Well, yes and no. That is to say, no more than anybody else in the family is a linchpin. Dick is everything from son to partner to brother and even father or Batman when needed. Jason's death left such a gaping wound, Bruce was basically going to get himself and Dick killed. Bruce's own death or disappearances tend to leave everyone spiraling, to say the least. So yeah, Alfred can definitely be a linchpin, but we've also had him leave at rather integral times in the past, like when Bruce was addicted to Venom. He did eventually come back, but suffice to say, bailing when someone needs you, not exactly a great scene. As a rule, Alfred can sometimes come off as a bit aloof or even cold, and given how Bruce turns out in some continuities, one really has to question his capabilities as a parent. Not to say Bruce has no sway in this stuff, but as a child he sure wouldn't. So if he's lashing out and hitting his kids and Alfred just sort of not doing anything, yeah, it's at least raising questions. Again, I am not saying this to try and make Alfred look bad. He also really does go the extra mile, put up with a metric ton of crap and takes big risks for Bruce and the rest of the clan. This is just me trying to balance the whole Alfred Pennyworth is the best thing by highlighting some of his potential foibles. Of course, that also begs the question, which version of Alfred is my favourite, or more, which do I think best meets the expectations of the fandom? Well, for that, let's get to the conclusion. Alfred of the Batman 2004 series is likely the closest to the platonic ideal of Alfred in my eyes. Just to be clear, this series was like my 3rd Batman, so not my 1st, and I didn't even watch it till my mid-teens. But why do I feel this Alfred works where others don't? Well, for one, his humour, while dry, is scarcely if ever at the expense of Bruce's emotional, physical or mental health. At most, it's gently chiding about his unwillingness to manage his personal life. He's clearly uncomfortable with Batman at first and briefly considers quitting, but doesn't even make it to the door. He worries, but it's the same way someone whose child is a firefighter worries. He wishes Bruce would take more time for personal care, but unlike a comic inclination, he didn't spend months lying to an amnesiac Bruce about his identity as Batman, and the moment danger reared its head, he did tell him. It was Alfred who got Bruce to start trusting Barbara and to start parenting Dick. But best of all, when the world looks like it might be ending, he and Lucius share a drink and remember a time when they took young Bruce to an air show as a child and how it was the first time Bruce had smiled since his parents' deaths. It was such a gentle moment, brilliantly contrasted against the destruction and chaos we could see happening in the background, but it also drives home that an ideal Alfred would not raise a Bruce who is manipulative, myopic, or even cruel. That is to say, if you want the drama of a messy Bat Clan, that means everyone has to be just a broken, messy person. Otherwise, Alfred just comes off as distant and unhelpful rather than wise or kind. Whew! Can't wait to see the comment section on this one. Anyway, that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. If you would like to help support these episodes and get early access to scripts, videos, stories, and art, please hit up my Patreon. If you would like to commission 3D art, please swing by my coffee and we can chat. For now, though, that's all. Thanks for stopping by.